Hey guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make Reese basses like Seth Hills, Excision, and some other artists, and especially in genres like drum and bass, the new future kind of like bass house kind of style, like Stamped. And yeah, and there's going to be a lot of cool techniques that you're going to learn, and you're going to learn how to build one of these patches, and then you'll actually be able to use these techniques on future sounds, or you can actually make this sound in the future and use in your own songs. So let's get started. So with Seth's Reese basses, you can often hear like these like crazy kind of screech, big heavy kind of sounding, and there's a lot. It's like a signature sound of his. Like I'm going off of Seth Hills for this video, so yeah, let's get into this. So first things first, he uses, I know for a fact, sine waves, but they're actually detuned. It's very, very weird, but it's going to make a thicker kind of sound. So first things first, we're going to go around maybe 28 semitones down, or not semitones, like fine tuning it. And we're going to put the other one up. And now we're going to get a sound kind of like this. Kind of getting that thicker kind of cool lead, and you can use that in like Big Room, for example. That's like a cool lead that you can make. We're gonna put this guy maybe the 30. You're already kind of seeing like how this is gonna sound. So we're actually gonna turn down the random knob. So basically now we can choose with the phase knob, and you're gonna keep it the same, but basically it's not gonna start anywhere in here, so it's not a random, and we're going to use that one only down with the random knob. So now we're actually going to put a filter on, a reverb filter, and this one's really good for like making more instruments sound real, or it's kind of like a bunch of notches put in with like a comb filter. That's the way as I look at it, but it gives it like a heavy metallic sound. So we're actually going to put up the resonant pretty high on this. We're also going to put the make sure oscillator B's in here too. Turn up the damp knob. We're also going to drive it 100% to get even a thicker kind of sound. You're already going to hear what's happening. So we're going to put this guy here, right around 9,000 hertz, usually somewhere like that, or 10,000. We're going to put an LFO on it, and you can always change the LFO later on to what you want. We're going to put it right around here. But we're going to turn down the rate to a bar, usually. Already kind of hear this crazy kind of movement. So now what we are going to do, we are going to actually put a compressor on this. And the compressor is actually going to, with multi-band at least on the compressor, is actually going to add a lot of high end. You're already getting like this cooler kind of like screech sound. And also, just a cool tip, you can go 12 or 24 high. I usually go 24 because you're going to get this like really cool kind of sound when you do it, because pitch bending, these Reese basses are everything. And just listen to this. You're going to get this really, really cool kind of sound doing it. So I often would put 24. I know Magnificence has like a cool bass like that they'll manually do the MIDI with on different octaves. And they'll do something kind of like that. It's really, really cool. So I often like to put a EQ on a sound like this, both a high shelf, and just cut off the frequencies maybe around 3,800, somewhere like that, to give it just some more kind of like sparkle, like a couple dB. Then I'm also going to thicken up the mid end. So we're actually going to put it just a couple dB. Just gonna thicken up the sound a little bit. You can also add detune if you'd like to make it more stereo, but often I don't do that. Also, we're gonna use a technique that you may not know, which is called triple FM. I'm not gonna really touch upon this as much, but it's basically gonna add and thicken up the sound a little bit from what we're gonna do. That's instantly how you can make even more of a unique Reese bass if you wanted to. Very, very cool technique, but we're only going to put a little bit. But now, so we're taking the frequency content from over here, from the sub, and make sure the level's down always. We're taking some of the frequency content of the sub, or like a sine wave from here, like an oscillator, and we're putting it onto here, so now it's manipulating this wave with some sine waves. And then we're actually going to put FM from B. So now we're taking these two other manipulated shapes and we're putting them onto this one to make one even bigger. It's a very slight difference when you're putting it on this much. But when you put it on like that much, you're getting this really cool kind of sound. But we're going to be picking up the sound a little bit. And it's just going to make it way different. So like, do kind of like a cool shape. So I also want to show you a little technique. If you put distortion on a very low amount, you kind of get this more distorted kind of sound. Depends on the sound that you're really going for. Because Seth, for example, will like do a couple of these different ones, like more of high end. Very, very kind of cool sound. So right now we're going to leave the distortion off. You can see where we're going with this. It's all about the LFO usually controlling here. And you can obviously go half, but usually a bar is the best place. And always experiment with other wavetables, but just make sure you keep the principles the same, like maybe a reverb filter, a notch. You can do notches if you want, but the reverb is by far the best because it's like a comb with like a bunch of notches and I think a little bit of peaks. But it's literally one of the best filters I've messed around with for this. And it's LFOs, and also make sure you're fine-tuning the oscillators down and up on one. So, yeah, and you can also add a little technique, like I said, adding the triple FM kind of stuff. You can also use the noise oscillator to do this, but it's really, really cool doing it to sub, though, because that's where, like, the best is. So I'm also going to show you something else. So if we drew one of these, F is the best. Right here, we're going to draw one. So now if you see this guy, let's pitch bend him first. I'm going to show you an example what you can do with this. So we're just going to add some pitch bend. And always add like macros to these things. It would make it even better. Maybe a little bit sooner. You can also add some of his Reese basses, for example, will sound like, actually, if we put them on, because he also has mixer channel effects. You can do more filtering with this if you want, because that's something very, very powerful. You can put like something like, for example, what is one? Filter Freak, for example, is a cool one. But here's something he started doing a lot, especially with his like reverse effects and kind of like Reese basses and melodies. You can hear this reverse or kind of like very fast speed on them. So he will use like something like a tremolo or a tremulator. For example, I have tremulator over here because I don't have tremolo as like a plugin because that's usually with Logic. But I guarantee you have something for every DAW or something along the lines like that. But it's just automating volume with different speeds and shapes, really. So I'm just going to use 132, and if I played it like this, but obviously you want to automate this over time. So I would just take down the depth knob, for example, and then you can automate this. Very, very cool. kind of sound. You can also, like I said, you could filter this if you want. Something like that. You can put like an automatic one on if you want for maybe. You gotta like really mess around with this. If you really want the coolest ones, this is what you do. And you can make the craziest ones. And this is like kind of like how I'm making my new sample pack around these guys. Let's find the filter freak right here. Maybe if we had maybe a different shape. Like increase the rate probably somewhere around here. I think we can control it by LFO somewhere. Not sure where it is. Oh wait, maybe right. There you go. And like for example, we put that over time. So it's maybe like without it. So yeah, you're kind of getting the point here and how to make Reese basses like Seth Hills. Like this is something that a lot of people have been trying to do. I know when I was into this genre, I was loving this kind of sound, and I finally figured it out. And it's just it's kind of a complex patch. Like it's a very kind of hard sound to make in a way, but also when you look at it, it's kind of simple. But it's the processing he does on them and the pitching. Like he's taking influence kind of from like the neuro kind of basses from like drum and bass, for example, or dubstep. That's where he took the influence, because I know in an interview he said that he likes combining genres, and this is kind of like what he did. He wanted to combine like that heavier genre, because he's also inspired by Skrillex. So yeah, that's really how you make one of these fancy kind of modern neuro kind of Reese bass for the new kind of genre or dubstep. And yeah, so if you make stamp style, this will be very, very cool to know, and especially if you know how to manipulate one like this. And yeah, if you like videos like this, please subscribe and like this video and share with your friends if they make similar styles to this. And comment ideas on next videos in the future that you would like, and I will definitely take them in recommendation. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.